What's up, everybody? So we're doing the heat treat process today on the ADCRV2 giveaway knife. So this is the forged knife that we did. I've already got it out in the forge right now because I started the normalizing cycle, and what we're doing is just a couple of rounds of normalizing today because I already did a couple before grinding in the bevels and doing all that stuff. So just whenever I got finished doing the actual forging process, I went ahead and did a couple of rounds of normalizing, for one, to make it easier to drill through and do bevels and do all of that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do another couple of rounds of normalizing now that we've already ground and done everything that we were going to do, and then we're going to do the heat treat process. So we've still got plenty to do. My goal for the this whole video is to do some of the steps, talk to you all about what I'm doing during the process. We're not going to be doing a voiceover. I'm just going to be talking while I'm doing things, and then we'll get this thing knocked out. So today's primary focus is just the heat treat process. So let's get this thing done. Let's jump into it. So check this out. I don't know how much y'all can see this, but it is snowing again. And we have a foot of snow all the way across our backyard right now, and outside the forge. I mean, it's ridiculous. We were only supposed to get about another half an inch of snow today. We're gonna get a lot more than that. This is gonna be absolutely crazy. So, see how it goes. Now, what we have going on in here is we have the forge going, and then we have, let me get this real quick. Here is the knife. This is after the second round of normalizing. And of course we do have our holes all drilled through the tang. Lanyard hole, 2 pin holes, and then some weight saving holes. We're going to go ahead, let the forge heat up just a little bit more, and then get it put inside there. But I'm going to bring y'all up here for a second so I can talk to y'all. Okay. There we go. So now, when it comes to this process, we went ahead and we did all of our normalizing, and what that is, or consists of, is the normalizing that I did directly after forging, which was before doing the bevels, doing the pin holes, doing all that, any of the drilling through, everything. The point behind doing part of the normalizing before you do all of that is, for one, you want to relieve a lot of the stress before you start putting more stress on it with grinding bevels and drilling through it and doing all that stuff. So I like to relax everything just a little bit, and it works as both a semi-annealing / normalizing process. And what I do is, after I get it forging to shape, I put it back in the forge, I bring it up to about 1500 degrees, and I let it cool slowly. Not as slowly as if I was doing the annealing process, because what that is, we bring it all the way up to non-magnetic, and then we leave it in the forge, shut the forge, and let it cool as slow as possible with the forge. Whenever you're normalizing, you don't want it to cool that slow. You want to, bring it down at a decent speed, but more of like a medium pace. So what I typically do is I pull it out of the forge, put it on the front of the forge, just on that front ledge, and then I let it cool right there. Now, it works, like I said, kind of like a annealing process, because it is slower than if you were taking and just sitting it on your anvil after you got in forging and letting it be. That's not so much work hardening the steel, but it is, cooling is still a lot faster than if you were to sit it on the front of the forge, because if you bring it out and you beat on it, it's cooling pretty rapid, and that will harden the steel a little bit and make it to where you're when you go to drill through it, you're gonna just start wasting your bits. So you want to make sure and let it cool a little bit slower on that little round so that you can still be able to drill through it. And once you get that part done, then you come out here and go ahead and do the finalizing normalizing cycles, which what we're going to do, we already did those. We brought it up to 1500 degrees, let it cool slower on the edge of the forge, then brought it to 1450 degrees, let it cool a little bit slower. Then all the grain structure is able to relax so that whenever you quench it, it creates a real uniform, smooth, silky grain structure, and it's not super gritty. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up to 1525 degrees and then quench it at 120 degree oil right here. This is heated up on top of my little Coleman stove that I have here. That's one of the most efficient ways to do it. Just uses a little thing of butane. Heats it up nice and even. So we got that heated up, and that's peanut oil. You can use Parks 50 if you want to use that as well. But for right now, we need to get it in the forge, get it heated up so that we can quench it. So let's go ahead and do that. So now that we have this quenched, we can go ahead and file test it. Now I have let this sit for about 4 to 5 minutes. You don't want to do your file test directly after the quench because you could get a false sense of that it not be hardened because it might not skate a file as much as you think it should right off the bat. Give yourself a couple of minutes and then file test it. Now, the sounds that we're looking for. So right here on the non-hardened tang, got more of a dull sound versus that right there where it's skating the file the whole entire way down. That's what we're looking for a nice heat treat hardened blade. The process that we're going to do after this is we're going to clean this, and then we're going to hit it with the Scotch-Brite belt, and then we're going to go into the oven for an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes at 375 degrees. And what we're looking for is a straw finish. So just a nice straw finish, basically color of that right there. There we go. The wood that you see right here, straw finish just like that. That's pretty much what we're looking for. And once we get that finish, then we'll go ahead and call it there. So I'm going to put this back in the vise for about 25 minutes, let it cool down a little bit more, and then I'll come back out here, clean it, Scotch-Brite belt, back in the oven. So we'll catch back up whenever we hit that point. Alright guys, we got it in the oven, tempering right now. The process for that, 375 degrees for an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes, just so that we can reach that straw color that we're looking for. Now guys, the whole point behind tempering is making sure that we draw back the hardness a little bit. Once you quench a blade, it is brittle. You could drop it on concrete and shatter it. So we want to make sure that we temper that hardness back a little bit so that we have a workable blade that has good edge retention. We don't want to temper it too far back and turn it purplish blue, because then we take the hardness out of it and it doesn't hold an edge at all. We just want to get right to that straw color, leave it there. Every single oven has a different heating process, or not heating process, but different heating temp range. So your tempering time and temperature and all that stuff might be different than mine, because my oven, you know, that sweet spot is 375 degrees for just over an hour and a half. Now, one of the things that we're going to be working on in the next episode is going ahead and getting the bevels finalized, getting them finished out on the 2x72, and possibly go into hand sanding. I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing on that until we start filming it, but whenever I do that, you'll know exactly what we're going to be doing. I do want to recap the process that we did in this video for ADC RV2. You're going to do 3 rounds of normalizing. So typically you can just do it just like this. Bring it up to 1500 degrees, let it cool slowly, bring it up to 1450 degrees, let it cool slowly, bring it up to about 1420, just under non-magnetic, let it cool slowly, and that is your normalizing cycles. And then bring the steel up to about 1525 degrees, keep it there for about 2.5 to 3 minutes, let it soak just a little bit, and then quench it in a fast quenching oil like Parks 50 or something like a peanut oil. Make sure you heat those to 120 degrees. Like I said, quench it, and then you want to make sure that you let it sit for about 4 minutes. Do your file test to see if it skates a file, and then once you know that it skates a file, clean the blade, then go into your oven and temper, which for mine, again, 375 for just over an hour and a half. Now, those processes are not everybody's processes. A lot of people do different things. That is my process for ADC RV2. Now, different steels have different heat treating processes and normalizing cycles and all that stuff, so just make sure you pay attention to what you're working with. There's a lot of forums out there, a lot of things to look up. All you got to do is look up heat treating 1080 process, ADC RV2 heat treating process. There's so many different forums and everything like that are out there that will suggest what you should do. Try those out. Guys, that's the end of this one. If y'all would, let me know if this video helped y'all out in the comment section down below. Guys, if you haven't yet, give this video a thumbs up, share this video or one of my other videos. Make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed. 20,000 subscribers is going to be when we're going to do the giveaway for this knife. Guys, thank y'all for coming by and spending your time with me. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there. Stay warm. I'm freezing right now. Hopefully y'all stay warm. But guys, I'll catch y'all next time.